Hello, Markham Gardens family. Welcome back to the Markham Gardens. I'm Daniel Markham. Hey guys, today we are doing some transplanting of a plant that I planted in a previous video. And I wanted to bring you guys along so you guys could not only get an update on what the plant looked like, but maybe show you how to do a little bit of transplanting on some small trees. If you guys didn't watch the other video, guys, if you'll go back and watch that video, I'll go ahead and put that right up here. Just a picture of what that video looked like. And basically it was the desert willow or desert orchid trees. I planted those from seed, and then those have now grown and filled up their pots. And so now I'm transplanting them into trade 1 gallon pots. And so I'm going to show you guys that process today, but I want to show you guys real quick the update on what they look like currently. So down here, you guys can see, this is how far we've gotten so far. And when we started, these all were planted as seeds, and we took them from a plug tray and then planted them into these little 4-inch pots. And it's amazing the amount of growth that they've had, and there's not as much growth on top as there is filling in of root structure. So these are definitely establishing their root structure first. Now over here we've got a lot of smaller ones. I'll go ahead and leave those and let those grow out just a little bit longer. But these right here are definitely ready to be up potted into trade 1 gallon pots. And I say trade 1 gallon, guys. They're not actually 1 gallon, but they call them trade 1 gallon pots. So I do have an interesting one here. This one here has very early on decided to branch. And I don't know if it's going to continue this pattern of really, really fast branching. But if it does, I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it, because this is one that I'm really interested in. If it turns out to be more bushy than the rest of them, that means more blooms and thicker blooms, and should be a beautiful tree if it keeps up that pattern. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some of these. I've got some of these over here in my wheelbarrow, and I've gone ahead and set a few of them up that I've started to transplant. And I'm just going to bring you guys through this little process here, show you guys how I'm going to transplant them up, and hopefully you guys can follow the progress of these as they grow into larger trees and then begin to flower and all that good stuff. So let me go ahead and spin you around, and I'll show you guys the plants that we've got down here. So these are the 4 that I've got left. I've already transplanted 2 of them. You can see them in these 2 pots here. And you can see I did also do some Jan's Best mulberry. Those are already planted on the property, but I just didn't remove the label. But these are desert orchid or desert willows. Chilopsis linearis is the name of them. And so what we're doing is I am transplanting them from these little 4-inch pots, and I'm transplanting them into these trade size 1 gallon pots. And anyway, I want to bring you guys through that process. I want to show you how I do it. Guys, it's super easy. If you end up wanting to do some transplanting this year, guys, this is how you do it. This is the best method that I've found to do this in a way that is successful and gives your plants the best chance for success. So I've gone ahead and I filled these pots up. I've got them probably about 1.5 inches from the top. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this soil. You guys can see this soil. It's beautiful soil. Our chickens make that. If you haven't seen that video, guys, if you'll go look at that soil video that I've posted where I talk about the chickens making this soil and the process that they go through to do that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just taking this soil and I'm pulling it against the sides, guys. I am just creating a little cavity there inside. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my pot right here, my little plant, and I'm going to pop that right into that slot. And then I'm going to press down just a little bit so that it's level with that soil. Now I'm going to take this soil and I'm going to move it around the outside. Where it's even all the way around this pot. All right, And once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and take this original pot and I'm going to lift it back out of the hole. You guys can see when I do that, now I've got a perfect structure right there that plant can go right back into. And so now what I want to do is I'm going to take this pot here. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run my fingers on both sides since I'm doing it one-handed. And I'm going to flip this over and pop this right out of this pot. I did it one-handed, guys. Now if I could just get a round of applause for that. All right, so I'm going to take this. You guys can see that there are some roots of these trees that are starting to pierce through the bottom. And once that starts to happen, that's when I want to transplant. I don't want to wait until the roots actually hit the bottom because I do not want to stress them at all. I want them to be to keep growing fast and continue the growth without stopping. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to pop it right into this hole. You guys can see that fits perfectly in there. I'm going to press that down in there just a little bit. Let's go ahead and remove that weed that doesn't belong in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and feather this edge with the new soil into that pot. And guys, that is literally it. So after I've done this and after I've put that into this new pot, now I'm going to water this. And I'm going to water this to where I saturate the entire thing. And then once it's fully saturated, I'm going to let this sit until it fully dries out again. Once it fully dries out and the pot is really light in weight, then I'm going to go ahead and fully saturate it again. And that allows the roots to fill up the whole pot, to basically fill the entire area. If I was to take and just water a little bit on the surface, it might only saturate down a few inches instead of saturating the entire pot of soil. Therefore, the roots will only grow into the portions that have water that it's searching for. So I want to go ahead and saturate these pots before I set them out to grow, guys. And so there's 3 of them. I'm going to go ahead and walk through one more of them with you guys. So we'll come over here and I'll grab another one of these. Let's go ahead and do this one. And you guys can see, I mean, they're doing so well. They've grown a lot of new leaves on them. There we go. Now we're in focus. And they're just super healthy. And looks like we got another straggler here. We'll go ahead and pull that little straggler out of there. And so I'm going to go ahead and grab my pot again. And we're just going to, we've got it already filled up to soil to the same level. We're just going to go ahead and pull all of this soil to the sides of the pot like I did a moment ago. And create our little cavity for our pot down in there. I'm going to go ahead and set that pot into there. We're going to push it down in just a little bit so it's nice and firm. We're going to go ahead and balance out our soil around it. Sorry guys, camera keeps trying to focus on my hand instead of the plant, but all right, once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and pull this pot back out carefully. We don't want to fill that hole back in. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to turn this pot back over again. See if I can do number 2 with one hand. We're going to flip that pot over, pop that right off. You guys can see again, roots have just reached the bottom and are just coming out the bottom of that soil. So I don't want them to start, you can see it started curving to the side there on the bottom of the pot. So I want to go ahead and get that into the pot and let that give it its best chance for growth, guys. So we'll pop that right into there. I'll firm that up just a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and balance out our soil in this pot. And it is leaning, guys, just a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and push some soil back up into there to the side of it. And that'll support that tree to grow upright like I want it to. Now, when these get a little bit bigger in these pots, These are probably not going to reach a size to where I'll have to stake them in these little pots. I will actually upgrade these to probably 3-gallon pots before I actually have to stake them. But at some point I will have to stake these because they'll grow fairly tall. And then as they grow taller, if they don't have firm enough branches to hold themselves up, I will have to stake them. And I'll have to stake them probably here because we do have quite a bit of wind. So, but in these pots, I won't have to stake them. They're going to be low enough. They're not going to get enough wind to blow these things over. But guys, that's the process. And it's really easy, guys, really simple to do. It's not a hard process to follow. You guys can see it was fairly easy there, what I showed you, but just thought you guys might like to see not only the update on these Chilopsis linearis desert willows, but also would like to see them being up potted. And so I will bring you guys back again for another update the next time we go to up pot these. And look forward in the future, guys. I'm about to start doing a spring update. I've got stuff starting to wake up and starting to look really, really pretty. And but we'll be doing some other projects this spring too as we're going through. But I thought I'd show you guys real quick. Let me go right over here. Forgive the mess, guys. But we've got our pepper plants going. And I've got probably over 100 varieties of peppers that I'm going to be planting this year. But this is my method for planting them outdoors here, guys. I go ahead and I can put them in the ground. You can plant them in the ground here in southeast Texas where we're at, deep southeast. But it does get too cold in the wintertime for them to survive. And so in order to keep these things, peppers will grow year after year after year. They won't, as long as you don't let them freeze and get too cold that they die, you can keep growing these things for years and they will produce for you for years. And so this is how I'm going to go ahead and do it. I've put these in 5-gallon fabric pots. I've used the soil, guys, that I've showed you that our chickens make here. And it's great soil, works awesome. And then what I do is I water and all of the liquid falls into these basting trays. I just buy little cheap basting trays to put on the bottom. And that way during the summertime when it's 100 and something degrees, you know, it's super, super hot and the peppers are really needing a lot of liquid, I can actually fill these basting trays full of water. And in a couple days, they'll suck all of that water up, but it keeps me from having to come out and water them like twice, 2 to 3 times, you know, in a 2-day period. So it helps to prolong them a little bit. And on top of that, guys, I want to show you real quick. Last season, I planted a magnolia. It's I believe it's called a Jane magnolia. And it's a fairly common one that they plant around here, guys, but they are beautiful. And I want to show you before we end the video today, just show you what we're looking at. Let me flip you around here. So this is what we've got here. This is the Jane magnolia blooming right now. And it is absolutely beautiful. The flowers are super fragrant, but I love how they're pink on the outside and then pure white on the inside. And you can see we've got several blooms going on here on this tree, and it does it before it even, I mean, it's just now starting to pop leaves on it, but it go ahead and it just loads up with blooms before it actually leaves out. But anyway, I thought you guys would like to see that. I thought you would enjoy seeing that. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the process. If you've got stuff that you've got to plant, guys, that's how you do it. That's the easiest process to go ahead and transplant those things and do it in a way that they're the most successful. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for following along. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, guys, please subscribe to the channel, the Markham Gardens. And if you know anybody that needs to see this, that's going to be doing a lot of transplanting this year, go ahead and share this video with them. feel free to share it with them and get the word out there, guys. It helps the channel for sure, and definitely motivates me to keep going as we get more subscribers. And if you'll comment in the bottom, guys, down there, if you liked the video, if you saw anything that was helpful, or if you've got any ideas for future videos, or ideas on how I could do this even better, guys. You know, we're all learning. We continue to learn. Nobody's an expert. All of us that are gardening are just learning as we go. If you consider yourself to be a gardening expert, then I would beg to differ with you. There's lots and lots we can continue to learn after we think that we know it all. So anyway, love you guys. See you in the next one. Shalom under the dome.